And now some more information regarding 9/11 and the FDNY team. When I made the documentary, I was under the impression that all of the FDNY team figures came after 9/11 in response to it. And mostly they did. It was just one that came before. So I did some research on it, and it turns out the initial limited edition Billy Blazes with water cannon, that was originally thought up in December of 2000, and then by time of the next year it was made in a very limited run. And according to reports, it was actually scheduled to be released on 9/11. But then, in reaction to that, in the following month, October 2001, they made a second limited run of that figure. And then later on, they made the larger FDNY team. So a little more information on that. There was a firefighter named Joe Torrillo from the FDNY, and he was working with Fisher-Price. They reached out to him to promote this figure and this whole initiative. And as regards to the planned release day, September 11th, 2001, it says Joe chose the fire zone as the location for the press conference to introduce Billy Blazes, and keeping with the safety theme, ironically chose the date of September 11th because 911 or 911 is the emergency phone number. And it says on the way to the press conference that was set for 9 a.m., Joe was about an eighth of a mile away from World Trade Center when the plane struck at 8:46 a.m. And so Joe diverted to the scene to render assistance, and that day he was very seriously injured, but thankfully he did recover, and he does a lot of public speaking nowadays. Unfortunately, it seems Fisher-Price gave him the impression that he had a bigger role in this promotion than he really did. This information has been repeated in multiple news outlets, on his website, elsewhere, to the effect that this toy was designed by him, based on him. I'll read you some of the quotes. It says, Joe worked on a project with Fisher-Price Toys to help design a new children's action figure. This new action figure was named Billy Blazes and was a likeness of the New York City firefighter. And of course, as anybody who's familiar with Rescue Heroes know, that the only new thing about this figure was the paint job. It was just a recolored version of pre-existing sculpts of the equipment pack, the figure himself, and of course the very name Billy Blazes that all existed before. All they did was paint it new colors and stamp the official FDNY logo on the figure. But again, in one of these news articles it said, Torrillo explained what a firefighter looks like with his bunker gear, packs, and other equipment, while the illustrators drew it out with crayons, markers, and pencils. At the end of the day, Billy Blazes was born. The artwork was taken to the factory, and 6 months later, in July 2001, the first Billy Blazes prototype was ready. And it even gets more explicit. It says, one of the tweaks a Fisher-Price executive made was making Billy Blazes look more like Torrillo with a big mustache. We know that did not happen. He already had a mustache, all pre-existing. 3 weeks later, Billy Blazes went into mass production. So it's kind of disingenuous. But nice if they were a little bit more honest with him. But oh well, it is what it is. And Joe does come up later in the Rescue Heroes story in the 2019 reboot, but that'll be in a future video.